The green?
Teals.
District 6? Right here? Okay. This was May 5th Senate map. This was drawn by the Secretary of State's folks. And what we're looking at here, District 6, these are Senate districts, remember, 83,312. District 14, this is a different numbering scheme than I think the current district number. But if you look, District 6, right here, yeah, this was one that they fine-tuned and they got it really low. If you look, here's the ideal population size, the target number. Here's what's actually in this current District 6, and it's down just 2.6% or down 218 people. 14, likewise, is right on the money at slightly down 1.1%. This might not be a good example. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll change this. And all I want to do here, and I'll only take a couple of minutes, and then we'll get back to the questions and the comments, and we can talk about maps. But I want to show you sort of the ripple effect that occurs. Let me go. Okay, all of these yellow lines are voting precincts. Now, if we look at, for example, District 6, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little click happy here. It's a little bit harder to do this with one screen, but District 6 is down just 218 people from its ideal size. Well, let's say we want to try to really fine tune it, and we'll come over here. We'll say I'm going to select a District 6, and I'm going to assign at the voting precinct level, which is what a VTD is. And I'm going to grab Worcester and put it in District 6. In that precinct. Well, look at District 6. Whoa, that went haywire on me. Rett, what did I do on that? It was only supposed to add, there was something messed up there. Anyway, I'm not going to belabor the point, but let me undo that. One of the things I figured out is I went back to the 218. The software doesn't like it when it's hooked up to a wireless internet for some reason. So in any event, let me pull this down to get to the gentleman's question. Okay. Now, is this what you're talking about right here, sir? Okay. Well, Rett can probably talk about it more, but that's, I imagine that was an effort to go grab population to make the districts equalized.
So they went there rather than going somewhere else.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, can you hear me?
Microphone, please.
Can you hear me now?
Speak up.
The first thing I want to say before I talk about this map is that working with the governor's office and the attorney general's office has been a pleasant surprise. They've really worked with us on a lot of things. As a matter of fact, my wife's sitting up here. Much to her consternation, on the way out here, I spent 30 minutes on the phone with James Miller. You guys don't know who James Miller is, but he's the governor's point guy on the drawing of the maps. We talked about some different things. They've been very open. They've been very open. They've worked with us. I know that it's kind of caused a fuss. They haven't put out any maps, but they're taking public comment right now, and then they're going to work on some maps. But they've been very good to work with us. Joe's been great. I think it's largely myth out there that they're in some back room formulating this ultimate plan to, just stick it to everybody. Like I said, they really worked great with us, and so I don't have any complaints about the AG's office or the governor's office, and I sincerely mean that. As far as this map here, and I don't know if you can see it in the back there, but whenever you start a map, you kind of got to have an overarching goal like Joe was talking about, and that is the goal is either perhaps to keep the variance down to plus or minus 10 or 15 people. The goal is to maximize the number of districts that minorities have, majority minority seats. The goal could be, we've drawn maps like that. The goal on this map was to avoid splitting as many counties as possible. If you look at the map back there, and if he were to kind of zoom out on it, you're going to see more counties and therefore more cities stay whole on this map than you would on any other map. And for instance, that District 5 there, that's 4 whole counties: Madison, Franklin, Johnson, and Logan. Every one of those counties stayed whole in that district. The deal with Conway here is you take Yale, Conway County, Perry County, all 3 of those districts stayed whole, all 3 of those counties, and Conway City, the majority of Faulkner County stayed whole on this map. It just happens that Faulkner County has 111,000 people, which means you can put one whole Senate seat in there, 83,000 people, and you're still going to have 30,000 people left over. Those 30,000 people are going to feel like they've been drawn out, in some kind of conspiracy plan, and rightfully so, but the fact of the matter is you can't draw a Senate district with 111,000 people. You can't draw a Senate district with just 65,000 people. You got to put 83,000 people in there. So this map, and Joe, just as comparison, I'm glad Joe brought that other one back there, and Joe drew a great map as well, but you're going to see that he splits a lot more counties. Like I said, the goal on this map was strictly, hey, we're going to try and do it with splitting as few of the counties as possible. So there's other maps we've drawn that have Conway City whole, and that leaves the 30,000 people, 80,000 people in and around Conway in a Senate seat, and then the 30 or so thousand people outside of Conway are kind of lumped in either with White County or Cleburne or Pulaski County or whatever. So that's, I don't know if that answers your question satisfactorily, but that's kind of what happened on that map. And like I said, we got other maps I'm sure will make you happy.
I want to reiterate the point that we're very interested in what you have to say. This is, in all of our other public meetings, this is also the point where I try to quit talking as much, and we open the floor, just like we have tonight, for questions and comments for the record, so that we start to figure out what people like and what they don't like. Another thing Rett said that's absolutely true is where you start, or whatever goal you have in mind when you start, has a strong influence on how you finish. For example, that May 4 map that I did, my primary goal in that was to just shrink heavy population districts within the geographic boundaries. I knew I was missing something. This is a heat, what we call a heat map. This just simply shows the population density shift. All of the green here are too low in population. For example, Senate District 23, the ideal population is 83,000. It's only got an actual population of 75,000. All of these districts are like that. And so every district that is in the green, these are Senate districts, has to grow geographically to get enough people in it. And we were in Monticello Tuesday night, and I drew a line roughly across here. I added up all of the actual population numbers within these 8 districts, divided by 83,000, came up with 6.88. In other words, the current population of South Arkansas will only support almost 7 districts, and there's currently 8 here. The reverse of that is all of the red and these are yellow, you can't see it real well, but Faulkner County is one of them, have too much population, so they have to shrink. And so that's a long-winded way of getting to my point about the May 4 map was, I said, well, what would a map look like if you just went to existing districts that had to shrink, and you shrunk them in, and then you drew everything else around them. And I think on my map, I think it's Conway, and essentially became an island to itself. Of course, it wasn't split up, so you could do that. But more questions, more comments. That's what I'd like to hear.
Elizabeth Sotilero from Conway. I guess the problem I have is that any of the maps that I've seen, I have no earthly idea where the boundaries are. There are no street signs, there are no highways, there's no real identifying factors. How are we supposed to really know what the lines are looking like? Thank you.
Well, I apologize for that. That's, well, I unplugged my internet. We take a snapshot of the maps and put them up on the website, and especially the statewide maps. I don't know of any way to get that sort of detail. But if you go look at the website right now, at regional maps for, Central Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, et cetera, there's some more detail in terms of streets and that sort of thing. So that's very much possible. If anybody's interested in that, I can get it to you. And that's not something we're trying to not show.
We would like to see one of those maps for Faulkner County since you volunteered, and thank you.
Well, let me
There are perks of being queen.
I got ambitious here. Unplug my internet. Let's say, anybody got another question while I fire this back up?
My name is Mary Bentley, and I'm from Perry County, so I'm looking at your map over here. Perry County only has 6,000 registered voters. In our last election, it was about 3,000, less than 3,000 people voted. So if you take our county like you did there and split in half,